I'm the Sales Manager at Enghouse for the Australia-New Zealand region, and I'm facilitating today's webinar. Thank you for joining us to find out about quality in the contact centre. Before we get started, just a couple of housekeeping items. Please use the GoToWebinar chat pane on the right side of your screen if you want to submit any questions at any time throughout the webinar. All questions will be addressed at the end, and we are also recording this today, so you will receive a copy of the slide deck afterwards and the recording of this webinar via email over the next few days. So let's move on. Looking at an introduction for our presenters today. We have both Anna Riley and Trevor Davis, who have both joined Enghouse Interactive team fairly recently. Just give you a little brief background on the two of them. Anna Riley is based in our New Zealand Auckland office, and she's with the CC development team. Previously, she has held a senior strategic product role for MYOB Banklink, managing a product portfolio with over 300,000 users in Australasia alone, and leading the business product development with all of the major banking institutions and other key strategic partners. Prior to this, Anna spent 12 years working in the telecommunications industry, managing contact centres, implementing product developments, and creating innovation in contact centre and mobile environments. It's an excellent background for managing the Communications Centre or CC portfolio at Enghouse. Now, Trevor Davis, he is based in the UK, and it's the middle of the night for him, so it's just gone 4:30 in the morning, and Trevor has got a nice hot cup of tea in the dark. So we'd like to thank Trevor for interrupting his sleep for us, and he has over 30 years experience in the software development and telecommunications market. He led product strategy for the CTI group prior to the Enghouse acquisition in 2015, and was a member of the leadership team of that company. The portfolio included the Smart Record call recording solution, which is an industry-leading application for the hosted IP telephony market. Trevor now also manages the Enghouse Quality Management Suite, or QMS, call recording portfolio, and continues to specialise in this market. So that's a little bit of background about our presenters today. So without further ado, I will pass over to Anna.
Thanks, Kath. So first of all, a big thank you to you all for joining us. We know how really busy you all are, so we appreciate you taking an hour of your day. It can be really challenging. So we'll do our very best to make it worthwhile for you. Today we're going to be looking at quality in the contact centre and what that means to you and to your customers and how you can best meet their needs. We'll take a look at what you're reporting as your top requirements when you look to deliver both to your customers and to your own business standards internally. And then we'll take a look at what tools are available today to help you deliver on this. So just a bit of background about who we are here at Enghouse. We've been around for a while now. We were founded back in the 80s. We're a publicly traded global organisation with operations in Australasia, Asia, UK, Europe, Middle East and the Americas, with our head offices based in Canada. And our business is in significant growth mode and is fast being recognised as one of the few providers able to deliver a truly end-to-end integrated omni-channel solution catering for all sizes and needs. My product, Communications Centre, which some of you may remember as Zcom, is developed in New Zealand, and some of you may recognise this face here in the middle. Deb Maud has been a valued member of our team for close to 8 years now, and is head of the NZ-based development team that delivers the CC solution globally. Recently, Deb was announced as the 2016 winner of the technical category in the inaugural Women in ICT Awards, judged by a panel of our industry peers. We really pride ourselves on the quality of our people here at Enghouse and our suite as a whole. Enghouse has an extensive range of best-of-breed products to support all of your communication needs. As most of you know, we are an acquisitions company, so every release you'll find that we're investing into connecting the suite of products closer together and integrating these to reduce your total cost of ownership, and so they become more seamless for you to use. So that's a bit about us. Let's move into what we're really here to talk about today, delivering quality to your customers and demonstrating this internally. We know that as contact centre managers, you consistently seek to achieve and demonstrate excellence in your centres. And we all understand that quality is critical in order to attract business and to keep customers. Supplying a poor customer experience can really negatively impact on your organisation and cause significant damage to your brand and your reputation, even more so now in our always-on, socially connected world. One tangible way to measure a poor customer experience is your customer churn rate. The higher the churn rate, the more cost to your business as this dries up new customer acquisition costs. And quite often you'll find this results in a negative impact on your staff morale. At Enghouse Interactive, we regularly review our contact centre strategy, both internally and through our customer surveys. One of our latest surveys that we've run shows 96% of dissatisfied customers won't even contact the business to discuss their negative experience. 86% of customers will just quit doing business with you altogether if they receive bad service. Now, how much are you spending now trying to recruit and attract new customers? And if they do try and contact you, 51% will only try once. So this is where our first call resolution really becomes so critical for your business. Here at Enghouse, we look to support you through this with tools like the Quality Management Suite, which Trevor will cover off in more detail shortly, and more widely through our extensive contact centre portfolio. According to a Walker study, by the year 2020, a quality customer experience will overtake price and product as the key brand differentiator. Let's think about that for a second. Customer experience will be more important to your client than price or your product. But what does a quality customer experience look like these days with our ever-changing technical landscape that we're living in? We think at the heart of it, delivering a quality customer experience is simply about delivering what your customer wants. Trevor, you've been around the industry a while now. What changes have you seen?
Well, interestingly, Anna, we're talking about sort of quality management, or at least I will be covering that in a few slides' time. And really what I'd like to explore is the way that we measure quality and how that's evolved over the last sort of 4 or 5 years. If I think back, 5, 6 years, quality measurement was all statistically based. It was all about measuring the amount of time people were spending in queues, abandoned call rate, and other sort of contact center statistics and metrics. And very little, and a lot of that was driven by trying to identify cost savings within the contact center or within the business. And not a huge amount of thought was given to the actual customer experience. What were they experiencing? How were they feeling when they were dealing with you? And indeed, how are your staff feeling? How can you manage that staff attrition rate? So certainly over the last 5 to 6 years, we've seen a significant investment in that sort of customer experience management side of the operation, where businesses are now much more conscious that providing a good customer experience is important for some of the reasons that you've already mentioned, such as reducing churn rate and indeed in improving staff morale within the contact centre. So the industry has released a lot of applications to help businesses manage that over the last few years. So we've seen the emergence of technologies like speech analytics, customer experience management applications, voice of customer applications, and so on and so forth. And I'm going to be focusing on some of those a little bit later on in the presentation.
Thanks, Trevor. If we look at the overall trends for contact centres today, we can see they're driven by 3 really key needs. So let's look at these current trends in a bit more detail to really understand how as centres we can really deal with them. The first of these needs is around choices. What options do we provide for our customers to engage with us? Do we offer them their preferred channel? Can they swap their channel of engagement at any time? The most recognised trend in 2016 is definitely Omni-Channel. It's not just the ability to offer your customers multiple channels of contact, which you'll know as multi-channel or multimedia. Omni-channel is your contact centre's ability to mix those channels so that interactions from the same customer can come in via several different channels but still be tracked and handled cohesively. This is especially important when they're dealing with the same issue. Often the choice of channel is about timing, letting your customer choose a time that suits them to initiate an engagement, but with you as the business choosing a time that suits you to respond. Another very current choice for customers is social media, and we all get the huge potential impact of this channel. As we deal with more and more millennials in business, this channel is only going to grow, and it's becoming more important for you to be able to suit the media type to your agent's skill sets. Whereas one agent might be awesome on the phone, it might take a different kind of agent to excel at dealing with your clients over chat. Whereas social started out under the management of marketing, it's now increasingly recognised as belonging with the contact centre and the people who best understand the customer service in your business, you. The next trend or trending need for 2016 is our customers' increasing desire to protect their time. Do we respect that the customer's time is precious? Do we offer them ways to save time? Do we make them identify and then repeat themselves at each point of contact? Can we get them what they want now? Customers don't want to have to wait for an answer. They don't want to spend time explaining things, and they especially don't want to have to explain it more than once. The key trend we're seeing to save time is self-service, which lets customers deal with us on their own terms and in their own time. Using web options, IVR, mobile apps, there's a range of different ways you can achieve this. In fact, a Gartner report predicts that by 2020, a customer will manage 85% of their relationship with an enterprise like yourself without interacting with a human. How will your centre be placed to help customers then? Definitely something to think about. The option to request a callback from the contact centre is also starting to be an expectation rather than a pleasant surprise. Where it suits the business, a proactive outbound call is also a great differentiator of service. The third trend we're looking at today for the 2016 customer is the expectation that you understand their needs and that they want to make sure that they understand all of their options up front and in the most accessible way. What did the customer call about last time? What are they most likely calling about today? Do we have everything we need at our fingertips? Do they know all their purchase and service options? Self-service is a key option for keeping customers informed, whether it's on the web, via voice recordings, but the most prevalent trend that we're seeing is around understanding the context. Customers want us to know as soon as they call who they are and what they contacted us about last time. They want to call us, email us, fill out information online, yet you need to know that they've done this and what the context was involved there. They don't want to have to deal with a chain of people, but if it happens, they expect not to have to explain themselves again and again. We call this understanding the customer journey. But like everything, the customer journey has changed. It's more than person-to-person service, and thanks to technology, customers demand that companies connect with them in new ways. According to a Deloitte consulting study, 62% of companies view customer experience delivered by the contact centre as a competitive differentiator, and almost all of these organisations offer multiple contact channels. Therefore, if you want to offer your customer a quality customer experience, you have to invest in an omni-channel environment. As a result of this, Gartner predicts that by 2018, more than half of organisations will redirect their investments to customer experience innovation. Customer service is no longer a department. It's rather a philosophy for your business, and understanding your customer's journey is a part of that. And as a vendor of omni-channel and self-service solutions, it's our job to make that easier for you. So let's take a look at some of the ways that we're doing that. In our Communications Centre UI, we bring together all of the interactions into one experience for your agents, so they can let the customer know that you understand them and how they've already tried to interact with your business. Because key contextual information is accessible by the agent, regardless of channel, they will have all the information they need to understand the customer's journey up until this point. You can see here that all the interactions are displayed on the same screen, independent of media type. There's emails, web chats, text messages, and phone calls all listed here down the left side. The agent can easily jump between interactions if their focus shifts, simply by clicking or touching another in the stack. The current interaction the agent is focusing on will display on the agent's screen. You can see here that we've got a web chat between John Smith and the agent Sarah discussing interest rates on a car loan. All of the customer detail you have on file for John Smith will be displayed on the right side of the interaction screen. But key to understanding the customer's journey is being able to see all of their contact with your business. By showing the agent the context of all of the interactions the customer has had with the centre, they will understand the history and bring value to the customer, saving the customer time and frustration. Both active interactions as well as historical are available to view. What this proves is you don't need a multi-million-dollar analytics project to successfully equip your agents to deliver a beautiful and valuable experience. We're not here to just answer phone calls or respond to emails. We're here to assist our customers, and we're here to help a customer who is on a journey reach the end of that journey. Being able to seamlessly move through the media types and track these as a single interaction is how you become a true omni-channel centre, offering a quality customer service to your clients. Sarah, the agent, can escalate the interaction at any time she feels there would be benefit, from an SMS to an email, a web chat to a call, all from the same interaction screen. In this example, Sarah's offered to give John the customer a call and is selecting to do so right from the web chat. The escalation will be tracked and can be reported on as a seamless interaction. Companies that excel in engaging customers across channels retain more than twice as many customers as companies who don't deliver a quality omni-channel experience. A study by Aberdeen Group claims that companies with the strongest omni-channel customer engagement strategies retain an average of 89% of their customers, as compared to 33% for companies with weak omni-channel strategy. However, while customers accept different service levels from different channels, they expect the communication to remain consistent, and that creates a real challenge. As customers use more communication methods, companies will have to maintain a presence across a variety of platforms and be able to deliver a consistent, high-quality experience across all of them. Earlier we discussed the growing demand for self-service as part of the customer experience. A great example of this is our recently developed mobile IVR. Here's an example. As a customer, I log into my mobile banking app. I may notice that there is a problem with my account balance. From here, I can easily opt to speak to an agent, and because I've dialed in from the app, I've already passed the security checks, so I get delivered to the right place first time, and I'm connected to the contact centre in any way I choose. Queue for a call, a callback, a chat, or an SMS, and I receive wait times and my position in queue while I hold. Now, if we think about the checklist of our key customer trends for 2016, giving the customer choices of engagement, tick. Ensuring we're not wasting their time unnecessarily, tick. Understanding them, what they're trying to achieve, and where they have been before they've landed on your channel, tick. But the value of mobile applications is also recognised inside the contact centre. Mobility is becoming an integral part of offering a quality experience for our supervisors as well. Rather than viewing data at the end of the day and making reactive decisions, we have the power through real-time data to keep track of SLAs, compare real and planned indicators, manage schedules and make changes to agent assignments, and to ensure the quality is maintained throughout the day. Communication Centre's Touchpoint application is available as a mobile app, so that as a supervisor you can see the stats of what is happening right now. No longer as a supervisor tied to the desk. You can walk around the office, go to lunch, go to meetings, and still see what's happening in real time. You can see all of your agents and their stats, but most importantly, the application is actionable, so you can take action straight away if the demand is there. It's easy to reach in and act in real time, monitor conversations, barge in on a call, redirect calls, and keep track of your SLAs and your agent health. The latest CC release delivers improved real-time visuals for contact centre data across Q metrics and thresholds. This example shows 15-minute increments. This allows improved performance management of your contact centre with better transparency for supervisors, and it's configurable to suit your needs. You can adjust the y-axis for a selected metric to adjust the focus of the graph, and if you don't want to display a metric on the graph, you can simply click to remove it. And you can create any combination of metrics you want using this method. When you select to hover over a particular bar, we'll show you all of the detail for that one. The latest release of Touchpoint has tunable parameters, so you can set a range of measurables in your centre. You can set thresholds at Q level, agent level, and coming soon on third-party data you bring into your CC centre. This means you can be measuring your centre on data coming from third-party systems, like a CRM tool, for example, providing an overview of how many sales you've made that day. And this will cause highly visible alerts in your UI, showing these predefined exceptions as they happen. This means you can always be a highly functioning, proactive centre rather than waiting for your end-of-day reports to make reactive decisions. You can manage schedules and make changes to your agents in queues in real time. I'm now going to hand over to Trevor Davis, Product Manager for the Enghouse Interactive Quality Management Suite, to show us how some of the latest features of QMS can help deliver quality.
Thanks, Anna. So I'm going to be taking a look at some of the new features that we've added to the quality management system QMS application. QMS is really a call recording application. It sits in a portfolio of products that we class as workforce optimization. Workforce optimization includes about a dozen different applications. I'm going to go through 2 or 3 of those that are key to managing quality within the contact center. Just to give you a little bit of background on this, we've a number of customers using these applications, and those businesses are seeing very tangible business benefit in a couple of key areas. Firstly, as we all know, within the contact center business, staff attrition, staff turnover rate is very, very high, quite significant. Businesses that have introduced some of the tools I'm about to show you have actually noticed a reduction in staff turnover. Just to give you a little bit of context of this, we do have some statistics. Call centres tend to replace frontline agents annually at around a 25 to 28% rate. If those staff are part-time employees, the attrition rate is even higher, around a third of part-time staff. And the tools that I'm going to show you are really sort of designed not only to help the customer experience, but also to improve the agent's ability to sort of self-help, and that improves their morale, and we are seeing gradually an improvement in the staff churn rate, and that's becoming quantifiably lower. Anna, would you mind changing the slides for me, because I don't seem to have control. Thank you. I think I'm going to start here by actually positioning the QMS call recording product and the CC contact center product, and indeed the third product that we have in the portfolio, the real-time speech analytics product. These actually all come from different companies. You've got Zcom with the CC application, QMS is from a company that was acquired about 6 years ago, and RTSA, the real-time speech analytics product, comes from a company called RTSA. And as Anna mentioned, we are an acquisitive company at Enghouse, but we do spend time integrating these products, and that helps us to produce sort of best-of-breed applications in the marketplace. So just to give you a little bit of context of some of the work that we've been doing, certainly over the last 12 to 18 months, the contact center CC application and the QMS application are much more tightly coupled now. So for example, the contact center will send metadata to QMS, information such as queue, agent ID, agent name, wrap-up code details, and so on and so forth can be populated in the QMS database, so it's much easier to search on that sort of information within the QMS application. Similarly, QMS can be set up to record based on a set of rules that it sees from the contact center application, so things like record by queue, record on call direction, whether it's inbound or outbound. These are rules that can be set up within the QMS application, and recording can be triggered based on data that it sees from the contact center application. The touchpoint client that basically runs the user experience for the contact center application also includes some QMS features, so we're sucking data out of CC, but we're also pushing data back into CC from the QMS product. So a couple of areas here. Firstly, score recordings. There is a agent evaluation, quality management product within the QMS application suite, and those scores can be embedded back into the touchpoint client. Benefit of that is that you've got basically a sort of single point of management there, so you can look at scores for individual calls and rate them for individual staff members. Similarly, contact center also displays data from QMS such as recording icons. So if a particular interaction has a recording associated with it, that is visible within the touchpoint client, and indeed you can play back recordings from the touchpoint client as well. And finally, the real-time speech analytics application RTSA is able to automatically inject scores into the agent evaluation application. We'll see some of that later. And again, those scores can be integrated into the touchpoint application, as you can see on this screen. We're going to take a look now, if we just move to the next slide please, Anna, at the real-time speech analytics application. This is one of the major pieces of development work that we've carried out over the last 6 to 8 months within the QMS portfolio, is embedding this application. I thought it would be useful to start with a description of why organisations are actually investing in this sort of technology. Just to give you a bit of background, as I mentioned, it's a product that comes from a company called RTSA. They're based in Europe, and it is really an industry-leading application. RTSA provides insights into customer needs and business ability to deliver on those. It's a real-time speech analytics application, so it provides feedback in real time. It allows you to measure and improve the customer experience basically as you're going through an interaction, and you'll see some of that as we go through the next couple of slides. I'll give you a couple of screenshots of how that actually works and the sort of things that we can measure. It's an industry-leading technology, and we've got a very good case study from a company called Zinc Group. Zinc Group is a UK debt collections company. It actually won an award this year for the use of this particular technology. And if you talk to the managing director of Zinc Group, he is very, very adamant that the RTSA application is helping him differentiate himself in the market that he operates in. It's demonstrably helping him to win more business because it's seen to be a competitive differentiator in his marketplace, in the debt collections marketplace. And he is actively investing in customer service and customer experience management, and that's being recognised within his market. Within contact centre, as I've said, it also demonstrably reduces staff churn. It's helping staff feel sort of more empowered, and Zinc Group specifically has noticed a quantifiable reduction in staff turnover since investing in this application. What RTSA does is it helps businesses perform quality assurance across all of their calls. Most businesses are able to sort of sample less than 5% of their calls. So if you think about a supervisor in a contact centre doing some sort of quality assurance on calls, they're able to listen to less than 5% of the recordings that you've made on that on your call recorder, and listen to them and evaluate them, assess against a predefined set of criteria. Whereas the RTSA application, and indeed any speech analytics application, is able to sample all recordings, or at least it certainly should be able to, and that gives you complete insight into what's happening within your business. So a significant benefit of the RTSA application is the ability to monitor and measure everything. Additionally, it places a sort of non-intimidating coach with the agent every minute of every day. There's an application running on their desktop providing them with insight into how they are handling every call. And it does this in real time, and it's a very powerful application. And instead of having a supervisor standing over their shoulder, or indeed sort of passively monitoring their conversations and sort of giving them real-time prompts, they feel more comfortable dealing with technology, and that's one of the key reasons that we're seeing a reduction in staff turnover. It also helps to provide evidence of adherence to regulatory requirements. So you can build a predefined script. Indeed, that script can vary depending on the queue that the call hits, but it does ensure that agents are asking all those mandatory questions that they should be asking during a call. And as questions are asked, they get ticked off. A little green tick appears, so the agent knows what they've asked and what is outstanding. And the bottom line here is really, we're improving customer satisfaction with this application. It does significantly help agents understand during the conversation how they're handling it, how the customer is feeling, and indeed how the agent is talking. I'm going to go through some of the things that we measure on in a second. If we can just jump on to the next slide, please. Thank you. So what does RTSA actually do? It's, as I say, it's got a real-time speech analytics engine running in the background. The first key thing that it does is it gives the agent a indication of some of the sort of what we call soft skills. that they're using during the conversation. So let me just sort of run through these briefly with you. The first is speaking rate. It warns the agent if it detects that they're speaking too quickly or indeed too slowly. It measures in both directions. So you can set an optimal speaking rate with the application, and you indeed can define what that is, and the what we call soft evaluator for speaking rate will provide a visual indicator to the agent of whether or not they're speaking at the optimal rate, or whether they're speaking too quickly or indeed too slowly. The next soft evaluator is volume. This one warns the agent if they're speaking too quietly or too loudly. The next soft evaluator is stress level, and this can sort of measure three things really. Sort of high stress, and high stress could indicate annoyance. We tend to associate high stress with annoyance, but it could also indicate things like happiness and excitement. And then low stress can also be measured, and that could indicate things like boredom, or maybe just calmness, or possibly tiredness. This can be fed back to the agent using the soft evaluator. Crosstalk. Are you interrupting the client, or indeed is the client interrupting you? Again, this can be a visual check of that. Can be shown on the screen, and quite often you're not conscious that you are interrupting, and therefore having a visual clue is quite useful in that respect. Speech ratio is the ratio of how much of the conversation is being owned, if you like, by the agent, and how much is being owned by the client, and you're able to define an optimal rate. So maybe you expect the agent to be talking 80% of the time. Well, you can define that, and if the ratio wildly differs from that, again, that can be flagged up. Then you've got things like signal quality, which detects potential audio issues or high background noise. Dynamic range, where voices, is there interference, for example, and then pauses. This is quite a useful indicator. Is the agent updating the customer when they're searching for data, for example, or are they leaving them in silence? That can be just a quick visual reminder to the agent that they need to continue to provide some commentary or dialogue to the customer as they're searching for information. Let's look at the next set of features of the real-time speech analytics product then, and this is what we call the phrase recognizers. And I mentioned earlier compliance. This is where you can build a script of compliance statements that the agent is required to say. So, for example, I will provide written notification of that. If the agent says that during the conversation, then written notification is recognised as being spoken during the conversation, and a tick will appear in the live client dialog box, so the agent recognises the fact that they've said that. They don't need to say it again. They can move on and include other mandatory phrases within the conversation. So mandatory phrases are a list of those phrases that must be spoken during the call, and as each one gets mentioned, it gets a tick against it. As I say, the agent can then see which ones they need to mention during the call. You've then got things like optional phrases, excuse me, which relate to sort of incidental comments that the agent is encouraged to say during a call. And prohibited phrases are those that by its very name, suggests that the agent should avoid using them. There's also the speaking rate evaluator on that screen as well, so again a quick visual indicator of whether or not the agent is speaking at an optimal speaking rate. There's also so let me just explain the RTSA application. There's sort of two flavors of it. What you've just seen is the live client. That's the sort of default option that comes with the RTSA and QMS integrated solution. RTSA also includes a reporting framework. There's a little screenshot on the right-hand side of this screen of the reporting framework, and this gives you a sort of historic view of conversations and the sort of evaluation scores across all the different soft evaluators. It can be used to automatically complete scorecards for agents within QMS as part of your quality management program. And as I say, you can sample 100% of calls here. So whereas historically we've had supervisors using agent evaluation and quality management applications and sampling less than 5% of the total number of interactions that you've recorded, the RTSA application can do 100% sampling, and it can therefore provide you with a much more holistic picture of what's going on. So these tools are important for identifying sort of underlying performance of your contact center, and indeed identifying underperformance, and it can help managers to plan training programs and self-improvement programs for their staff. If we just move on to the next slide, please, Anna. So this is the sort of optional reporting framework that comes with the RTSA application. The screenshot is a little bit blurry from where I'm seeing, or maybe that's just because it's very early in the morning at my end. Let me just go through some of the points here. The analyzer demonstrates the integration between QMS and RTSA. It's basically this particular screenshot is an individual call that's being displayed, and what's being shown here is some of the different soft evaluators and how they've changed over time. I'm just going to sort of pick one example here, which is the sort of pink line that's gradually going up as you move across the screen. This is the sort of phrase evaluator. So this is tracking mandatory phrases. So you can see as each phrase is mentioned, you get a tick in the box, and at the end of the call it's reached 100%, so you know quite specifically that the agent has asked all the questions that they needed to ask. Some of the other things that you can see on this screen are sort of speaking rate, which sort of hovers around medium, and you can set filters here, so you can filter out certain soft evaluators if you're not particularly interested in them, and fine-tune the application. You can also see here where certain phrases were mentioned in the call. So you've got a sort of waveform format of the recording, and you've got certain place markers in the call which are demonstrating to you where certain words and phrases have been mentioned within the context of the call. Next slide, please. Thank you. Some of the statistics, so yeah, they're basically intended to provide you with insight into when agents are having problems, and indeed it can be quite specific in identifying what the problem is. You can also immediately see the benefit of any training program. So if you have instigated some form of training with a set of agents, or indeed an individual agent, this application can help you to assess the success of that. You tend to see an improvement in scores very, very quickly. You can also do things like sort of macro management, so you can look at the drop in agents' performance throughout the day, and maybe that's something that's useful to you. You can sort of it's fairly logical that there will be sort of peaks and troughs throughout the day in a person's performance. Well, this will tell you when that's happening, and maybe you can make plans to reduce the performance degradation there. And access can be given to the agent themselves, so they can obviously look at their own scores. They can provide feedback on that. So it's very much a sort of iterative process here, where managers are managing their staff, assessing quality, and also providing feedback to the staff, and staff are then able to look at that feedback and respond on it. So it's a very much a sort of cyclical process. And at this point, I'm going to hand back to Kath.